Hi you two, Miss Brooke here doing your RE lesson with you this afternoon. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday so far. Now last week as part of our Wonder Lessons, Miss Harris did a little rewind through Judaism and looked at the different concepts that we have looked at so far. So if you haven't already done that one, I suggest you go and do that one first before starting today's lesson. And before you start today's lesson, you also might want to take a minute just to pause now and think back to last week's lesson if you did it, and what key knowledge can you remember from that lesson. So pause the video, have a little think, do a little rewind with yourself at home, and then press play when you're ready to start today's lesson. Our what for today is to understand the meaning of kosher food. How? Exploration of the world. And why? So we can understand what Jewish people eat and drink. Now, we've been taking a lot of time during our Wonder Lessons in science to look at the diet and why it's important to eat all of the food groups and how to have a healthy, balanced meal. Now, today we are going to look at a Jewish meal so we can understand their special diet that they have. So what do Jews eat? Jewish food and drink rules are known as kashrut. My turn, kashrut, your turn. Fantastic. Jews believe that these rules are a test of obedience and self-control. So they believe it's really important as part of their religion to make sure that they follow these special rules and that they are being true to their religion. So here in this picture, we can see some examples of some kosher foods. So we know Jewish people only consume kosher food and drink. My turn, kosher, your turn. Well done. The Torah, which we know, we've got the scroll, is our Jewish holy text, and it tells Jews which foods they are not allowed, and they're called trefa foods. My turn, trefa, your turn. Fantastic. So kosher means fit to eat. So what I'd like you to do now is to get your wonder books out, and as we go through this video, I want you to make a few notes, okay, some key bits of knowledge that we need to remember as we're going through the lesson, because you'll need it for the task at the end. Okay, so what I want you to do in a second is in your wonder book to write today's date, Wednesday the 27th of January, with your beautiful handwriting, and underline it with your ruler or something that's got a flat edge. Then I would like you to misalign and write RE, as that's the lesson that we are in at the moment. And our first note that you may want to take is kosher means fit to eat. You may also want to go back and copy down some other facts if you wish to remember those. But the main fact that we need to have from what we've learned so far is that kosher means fit to eat. So I want you to pause the video now and write down these 3 things in your wonder book or on a piece of paper, and then press play when you're ready to hear the next little bit of information. Jews can only eat meat from animals with split hooves and who chew the cud. So we've got a little picture here to explain which animals they can and can't eat, and I can talk through what each of those means. So meat of animals with split hooves, which means if you can see just here on the pig's foot, it's when their hooves have 2 parts. There's a front part and a back part, okay? And chew the cud also means having to chew food for a second time. So these animals here, such as the camel, chew the food, it goes down to the stomach, and then they have to chew it for a second time. So in order for Jews to be able to eat meat, it has to have split hooves and it has to chew the cud. So it means that because they have both of those things, these animals here are kosher because they have split hooves and they have to chew the cud. So your next fact sentence that I want you to write down in your book is Jews can only eat meat from animals with split hooves and who chew the cud. If you want to, you can also add some pictures to help you. So you could draw one of these animals here or all 3 if you would like to. Completely up to you to help you remember it, whatever works best. So pause the video, write down our next fact sentence, and then press play when you're ready to continue. Fantastic. Now we're on to birds and fish. Many birds, such as turkey, goose, duck, and chicken, are kosher. However, birds of prey are not. Fish that have scales and fins are kosher. Shellfish and eels are not. So again, we've got a little diagram over here. We can see all the foods on this side are kosher. So Jewish people can eat turkey, they can eat goose, they can eat haddock, and they can eat salmon. However, they cannot eat an eagle because it's a bird of prey. They cannot eat an eel, prawn, or lobster. As you can see here, the lobster is a type of shellfish. It's got a shell on it. So this would be a food that they are not allowed to eat. Your next fact sentence that will help us is Jews cannot eat birds of prey or shellfish. Again, if you want to add a little bit more information, that's completely up to you. Maybe some pictures alongside it to help you, but I'll leave that to you. So what we need to have as a minimum is Jews cannot eat birds of prey or shellfish. Pause the video to write that down. Fantastic. Dairy is a food group that we've looked at. Another important rule is that Jews must not eat meat and dairy at the same time. After eating meat, at least 6 hours must pass before they eat dairy. So we can see a clock here. Now on this side of the clock, we've got a meaty pizza. So for example, Jewish people could not eat a meat pizza because the cheese, as we know, has got milk in it, so that makes it dairy. And as we can see some pepperoni, which we know is meat. So sadly, they would not be able to eat a meat pizza because they can't eat meat and dairy together. Now, if they do eat meat, they have to wait a whole 6 hours before they can eat some dairy. Or if they eat some dairy, they have to wait a whole 6 hours before they can eat some meat. That's a very long time, isn't it? So your next two sentences are, Jews cannot eat meat and dairy together. They must wait 6 hours between eating them. So these two sentences here will help you to remember some of those key facts as well. So pause the video and add this to our little fact file. Wonderful. Fruits and vegetables have to be thoroughly cleaned to make sure they are completely free of insects. So they can eat fruits and vegetables, they just need to make sure though that they're really nice and clean. But to be honest, I don't think we'd want insects on our fruit and vegetables, so we need to make sure that we're cleaning those too. So your sentence here, fruit and vegetables must be cleaned. We can start to see now that we've got a great build-up of sentences helping create a mini fact file all about kosher foods. Well done at home. Kosher kitchen. Only kosher food can be brought into the kitchen. So if it's not kosher, it can't be in the kitchen at all. Certain foods must be cooked or baked in order for it to be kosher. And separate kitchen equipment must be used for meat, dairy, and drink. So in a kitchen, Jewish people need to make sure that they're keeping separate equipment for the different types of foods. So meat can only go on one type of plate. They can't put dairy on that plate. They have to keep it separate. And inside the fridge as well, there must be a separate section. So meat must go on one shelf, dairy must go on another shelf, and they have to keep the food separate. Now, your task to finish off is design a kosher meal. Now, this is why I wanted us to keep our fact file here of the different pieces of information, because as you're designing your fact file, you will need to, as you're designing your meal, you will need to remind yourself of some of the rules, okay? Now, to help you even further, what I've done here is I put a list of foods that you can read through, and I've also put the pictures. I'll make sure all of these slides that I've gone through are over on Class Dojo, so you can see them on there as well. So you'll be able to see all the facts that we've been through, and you'll also be able to see these pictures. Now, if you want to at home, you could print off just this slide and cut out the pictures and add them to your meal, or you could just draw them. So let me have a little look here. So what you need to do is either, again, print off the template if you can, or if not, underneath your fact file, you can draw your plate. Now you need to make sure that the food you're putting on your plate are kosher. So that's why I said it's important to look back through your fact file to make sure you're not breaking any of the rules. I put lots of different pictures of the foods here, some of the foods here that you could use to create your meal. So now it's over to you to design your kosher meal for some Jewish friends. You might add a banana, cabbage, cucumber, duck, lamb, lettuce, orange, peas, potato, strawberries, turkey, broccoli, tomato, carrots, cow's milk, chicken, and water. So here are some examples of the foods that you could add. Now remember, one of the most important rules is that they can't eat meat and dairy together. So for example, if you wanted to put some meat on your plate, but also you want them to have a glass of milk, you need to make sure that you draw that at the side, because that's something they'd have to wait for 6 hours before they can have. Okay, so look back through your fact file before you start your meal. Use these pictures to help you and think and design a fantastic meal for our Jewish friends. So when you've designed that meal, what we'd like you to do is to send over a picture on a class dojo of your fact file. So all of those sentences that we wrote down to help us remember some important information, and a picture of your Jewish plate. Now to help us, it might be quite nice that if on your plate, when you've drawn the pictures or stuck them on, you write underneath what it is. Now on the slide at the moment, you can see that I've written quite a lot of the foods down, so that should help you with your spellings of those foods. So when it's done, send it over so we can have a little look, and you may even feature on our wonder slides in our great assembly this week. So good luck. If you've got any questions, please send us a message over on Dojo, and I look forward to seeing them. See you soon. Bye.